So, I've read up to episode 5 now, and I will say, episode 5 was better than it was in the book. I said it. I said what I said, and I meant what I said, okay? And I said what I meant. Alright? I enjoyed Grover staying and having his moment with Aries. Like, that was comedy. Hilarious. Great. I also like the Perkabeth stuff better in the show too. Like, when they go to Waterland, it's different in terms of like what they actually do to, like, the actual mission to request to get the shield is different, and I prefer it in the show than in the book. But I'm not a big spider gal, so I would have freaked out just like Annabeth. So I definitely enjoyed it more in the show. And the acting, oh my gosh, it was, Leah ate down in this episode. Like, she is that girl. Like, oh my gosh, when Percy was being like solidified with the gold, you could see her heart was just like, ah. And then oh my god. And then when she stood up to Hephaestus and was like, no, we're gonna be better than you guys. And then Hephaestus liquefied or took away the gold from Percy and he got up. I was like, yes, it's about time there's a god who's actually like listening to them and like helping them, and not for their own greed. Like, everything Poseidon does is for his own reasons. Like, he only helps because he wants Percy to do X, Y, and Z. Athena, worst mom of the year, she doesn't do anything to help them. She actually tries to kill them. So she's no help. Ares is no help. He sends them on this mission for no reason. He just wants the shield back and knew that they would either die trying to get it or he'd get it back. Like, he didn't gain nothing by helping them. He only gained by helping them. He didn't do it out of the kindness of his heart, is what I'm trying to say. So, like, it was a breath of fresh air to see them, like, actually have a conversation with the god, and, like, the god listened and, like, saw that, like, maybe there's a better way than the way they've been acting. Because how y'all been acting like this for thousands of years? Y'all ain't evolved, y'all. But then y'all got the audacity to look down on humanity. Look at y'all. Embarrassing. Like, imagine being thousands of years old and you're still petty and immature and all of the negative things that we all try to combat every day to be better people. Like, imagine. No self-growth. At all. Sick. Embarrassing. So, yeah, I'm Team Hephaestus right now. Like, I love that. Love that for him. Love that for them. Because Annabeth was not leaving Percy. She was not leaving her man behind. But I definitely, like, this is the moment where she fell, so now we're waiting for him to fall harder. Yeah. I love it. This was perfect casting. So far I have no qualms about the changes they made from the book and the show. I think everything they've done differently has been better, honestly. I'm impressed. So, until next week, see you then. Okay, guys, I finished the book. Overall, I'd give the book a 4 out of 5. I think, based on what I've seen so far up until the show, I'm intrigued to see how the differences that I already know from episode 6, how that plays out now. Because, obviously, you know that, like, in the book, he only gets 3 pearls, so he has to leave his mom with Hades. So, in the show, he gets 4 automatically. So, I'm interested to see how that happens. And then, what else was different in that episode? The pearls. Oh yeah, and the summer solstice already passed. So I'm like, that's literally the last, 80 pages of the book is him like the day of the summer solstice and then afterwards. So like if they've already missed their deadline because of being in the Lotus Casino, what does that mean? Like, because the whole point is to get Zeus his bolt back before the summer solstice so they don't go to war. So I'm interested to see how the last 2 episodes play out with those big changes happening. The whole Ares fight, oh my gosh, that was totally new. Like, I know in like the preview for this next episode there's like a little image or like section where he's where we see Ares again, but I didn't know what it meant because in the movie, after like right before when Percy's trying to return the bow, he fights with Luke. And so I didn't know where Ares fell into that. So reading the book, I was like, oh my gosh, that is, whoa, that was all new information that I did not know and was completely different from the movie. And so I liked that. Also too, it makes sense like movie 2 does, because there was no mention of Kronos in the first movie except for actually I don't even, Luke might have mentioned him when they were fighting at the very end, but I don't quote me on that because I haven't rewatched the movie, so I don't remember. But besides that, I know for a fact there's really no other mention of Kronos throughout the rest of the movie. So for movie 2 to be like heavy on like the fleece and awakening Kronos and whatever, it just was like, okay, that's just like, it didn't feel like a continuation of the story from book 1 or from movie 1. It just felt like, oh, it's another story within this universe type of thing, if that makes sense. But in the book, like, there's so many sprinkles of Kronos in the last like 100 pages when all the like dots start to connect, that now I understand the setup for book 2 for Sea of Monsters that it wasn't there in the movies. So I'm excited to see how that plays out when I read the book, and then also too how they'll make it in the show. But yeah, I think overall it was a good book. I'm excited to read the rest of them. I'm excited to see what happens in the show. What else stood out to me? Perkabeth is Perkabething at the end with the bye CV brain, bye wise girl. We love to see it. What else stood out? Also, we love an independent woman of Sally not wanting Percy to use Medusa's head, and like her doing it herself and, you know, setting herself up and, you know, being an independent woman. We love that. I will say the movie version of Poseidon and Percy meeting was better than the book. I'm sorry. I said what I said. I meant what I said and said what I meant. Because in the book, it's like, you don't really know. Is he like happy to have a son? Is, like, even Percy's confused. Like, you don't really know where Poseidon stands. But like in the movie, he makes it clear that like, no, he loves him and like he wishes things were different, that he could have been the father that he needed. But like in the book, it's not like that at all. So I don't really care for Poseidon the way I did in the movie. Because in the movie it was giving Zeus made this rule and I have to follow it, but I don't want to. But in the book it's giving, it is what it is. Sorry, kid. Like, it's not giving, I wanted to be your father and I couldn't. It's giving, I made a mistake. You're here now. Sorry about it. You know? So it wasn't that great of a father. So at this point, we've met Ares, Hermes, Zeus, Poseidon, Dionysus, and in the show we meet Hephaestus, but we don't meet Hephaestus in the book. We just go to his water park or whatever. So we met Hephaestus in the show. I want us to meet Athena so bad in the show. Like, I just want to see how they would cast for her. because also too in the book, Percy goes to Olympus by himself, but in the movie he does. But in the movie, no, I had it right. In the book, he goes by himself to Olympus, but in the movie, Grover and Annabeth go with him, and Annabeth gets to see her mom. And so I want to know how they're going to do that in the show. Like, are they going to go back to camp and Percy goes by himself, or are they going to go with him? And if they do go with him, are we going to get to see the other gods? Because I'm dying to see how they cast Athena. I'm so excited. Because also, too, like, we know Zeus, the guy they cast for Zeus, is a black man. So I'm assuming Thalia would be either a black girl or a mixed girl. And then, which is different from the movie of Sea Monsters, it's a white girl. And then, but Annabeth is black, so I'm like, is Athena gonna be black? I mean, in my head she's black, but everybody in my head's black. I don't really care what book descriptions say a character looks like. I kind of just skim them and I create the image in my head. So that's my review of Percy Jackson the Lightning Thief. We'll be back after I watched this week's episode 7, and then I'll be back again after I watch episode 8 next week. What's up, guys? So I just watched episode 7, and I think the biggest thing, hold on, I'm not centered, that's gonna bother me. Hold on. Am I in the middle now? Well, there we go. So I think for me, the biggest differences with this episode that I really loved was the flashbacks with Sally and Percy, and like seeing that experience from like a outsider instead of Percy, because like the whole book is written his perspective. So of course he doesn't know anything of like his mom talking to Poseidon, and like that she knew like how much she knew of him being, you know, the son of Poseidon and all of that. Like, he doesn't know any of that information. So it was so cool to see like her talking to him, and to see like how intentional she was in raising him, because I feel like there are little like there's like little sprinkles of that throughout the show. Percy's being intentional about how he's different from the other half-bloods, in the sense that like he wasn't raised in this world, so like his morality code is different. Like, he just has a different sense of right and wrong and good and bad, because he wasn't raised with this perception of the gods as like real people, and he was just a normal kid. And so to see her like admit that like no, she didn't want to take him to camp early because she wanted him to know himself and who he is before getting manipulated by like everything the gods want him to be and what he should be, you know. And I thought that was so nice to see like the intention behind that, because there are multiple times throughout the show where that's brought up, of like how he's different, how he thinks different, or views things differently. And I mean, we saw the whole thing with Annabeth and Hephaestus, when she's like, he's different, like he's better than what the rest of us have been raised to be. And you know, I think that was just chef's kiss. Hi friends, how we doing? So we just watched the season finale of Percy Jackson, and here are my thoughts. I thought the Ares fight was good. Did I think it was like one of my personal favorite moments in the show? No. Versus how it was a big part of the book. But it was good. Here's the best way I can say it. It like slightly ate, and I needed it to eat down. You see, but it didn't eat down the way I needed it to. But it was still good. I loved the Perkabeth scene where she gave him the necklace with all of her Camp Half-Blood summer beads and her dad's ring on it. Oh my gosh, that was so cute. I will say I was expecting a little bit more like Olympus is like looks great, And I think if the summer solstice hadn't passed, I would have been like, oh, this is great. But because the summer solstice had passed already, and they're supposed to be going to war and, like, you know, preparing and yada yada yada, I was expecting Olympus to be a little bit more chaotic. I was expecting it to be gods and goddesses running around and preparing for war, and you know, and it was just like dead silent. Like there wasn't anybody up there, which, you know, maybe they were all gone because they were preparing for war. But in my mind, I was thinking like it was gonna be chaotic up there, like it was gonna be crazy, not like deadly silent, like it was a regular typical Tuesday. So that was like a little bummer. I was like really expecting chaos when he stepped up onto Olympus. But I loved how he ate Zeus up, honey. He put him in check real quick. And I was here for it because in the book, if I remember correctly, like he tries to explain to him like Kronos, but like Zeus isn't hearing any of it. Like he won't let him even finish saying the name Kronos, essentially. But like in the show, we really get to see Percy like stand up to Zeus and be like, no, like you need to listen to me and take this serious. Like this is not okay. And the fact that you just like accepted, like our family's a hot mess, and the fact that you just letting it ride out, like people are turning on you and, you know, working with Kronos and you just don't care. And I loved the way Poseidon stepped in, like right when Zeus like had finally reached his breaking woo! Right when Zeus had reached his breaking point, and was like finna kill Percy. I loved that Poseidon stepped in and was like, no, we're not gonna do that. And like the fact that he like surrendered in the war or whatever, it just like shows how like look at the bigger picture here, guys. You're worried about getting a victory over Poseidon on a war when Percy's literally telling you that this is exactly what Kronos wants, for you to weaken each other. So that, and then you're just like, it just like flew right over his head because his ego's too freaking big to understand what's going on. Like it just blew my mind that like these are thousand-year-olds, and they literally have the capacity of a 14-year-old. Like their egos and like to see the bigger picture, like to literally be gods and see the world in all its different forms throughout history and still not get the big picture. Mind blowing, but you know, man, I'm not surprised. And then I loved put Percy in Poseidon's little moment. I thought it was a lot more like I thought it was better than it was in the movie and in the book, in the sense that like we really got to see a little bit more of Poseidon like care for Percy. Like I don't know, in the books and in the movie, the first time he meets him, he's kind of just like, yeah, can't help it, like you're a forbidden child, I don't know what to tell you, like sorry, but like love ya, proud of ya, but like not really, like, you know, I'm glad you did what you need to do, but like I still can't be the father you need. And I feel like this Poseidon was more human. Like we saw a much more human side of him. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And then yeah, thanks for tuning in. And if you didn't agree, go argue with your mammy, not me. Bye.